How's it going, everybody? What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to check the spark plug gap on the spark plugs that came from the car when it was picked up by the previous owner in Nevada. So we will assume these are the original spark plugs. They may not be, but they're the best guess we have. So I'm going to measure the size of these, and I got two different spark plug gap measuring tools. I was told by the video of the previous owner, that these should be a 0.025 inch gap. So we're going to check that really quick. This guy is in inches, so that's 0.02, so that should fit in there. And it stops, you know, just a little bit above 0.025. It's hard to be exact, but just above 0.025 is where it stops at. And fortunately, there's a 0.025 guy on here as well, so we'll double check my math here. And that guy does feel like he just barely touches both sides. So let's say that that spark plug was actually 0.025. We're going to check them all, just for giggles. And you can see the status of these spark plugs was not great to begin with. Let's check them all. I mean, that guy, the 0.025 won't even go in. It's like he was gapped a little closer. Let's see. I know I have a 0.024 in here somewhere. It's hard to keep these straight. I think this bottom one is 0.024. So let's check that. Yeah, so that just barely goes in. Oh, it's a little tight. 0.023. 0.023 feels pretty good. So they're gapped even a little lower than that. Let's keep checking. We'll go with the 0.023s. That's pretty close, yeah. This one's really burnt out. And that one's even tighter. 0.022. Yeah. 0.022. And that one was really screwed up. That might actually explain why that one was really screwed up. Let's try 0.022 again. See if we can get 0.023 in there. Yes. 0.024. Yes. 0.025. Just barely. So the 5 spark plugs that I do have seem to range from the 0.025 to the 0.022 inch. Sorry, I'm not speaking in millimeters. So anyway, I saw that the previous owner put plugs in it, but he never mentioned what the gapping was of those plugs. And this is the box that he says he bought the spark plugs in. And you can see this is a BCP R7ES. And if the internet is to be believed, because I did a Google search and I found somebody listing this exact part number, BCP R7ES, as 0.3125, I think. Anyway, so I'm going to pull the spark plugs out of what is in the engine now, and I'm going to do the same test, and I am going to gap them down to 0.025. And then we're going to see if the engine doesn't cut out under boost anymore. That would be an incredibly simple problem. And then if that does fix our problem completely, I'll probably ditch the copper tipped guys, which are these, and go for some iridium tipped ones. But we'll see if we do that. Because if gapping the spark plugs doesn't change anything, or they're already gapped to 0.025, then that's not our problem and we need to look elsewhere, which I will then start looking at fueling. So anyway, let's get under the engine bay, or let's get under the hood and start pulling these spark plugs out. So as you can see, this car has already been converted to R35 coils using the PRP Platinum Racing Products R35 coils kit. So these guys are all held in, obviously, by nice new connectors and nice new wires, which are connected up there. And then it's a 5mm. I think it's a 5mm Allen key that holds each of these guys in. So that's step one in getting to our spark plugs. So basically I undid the screw and went to pop this baby out, and you can see that the boot is stuck in the thing. So gonna have to work on that. I might actually just put this guy down and try to pull the rest of them out and then see what problems I have then. So anyway, it's not a great start, but I mean, obviously it's just a boot, it's just squeezed onto here. So as I pulled these out, literally every single one's left the boot in. So I think I'm just gonna try to pull the whole bracket out. And one of the little connectors connectors, fuses, whatever you want to call it, the electrical connections between the top of the coil and the bottom. One of them popped out. I don't know if that's cylinder number 5 or cylinder number 2, but one of them popped out. So I'm gonna have to get the magnet out and pull that baby out. And gotta make sure she doesn't fall into the engine, because that would be way worse. Anyway, so there are all those, minus the one that's missing, of course. And really quick, I'll just check that these are also, oh, they're not, they're bigger. So this is a 5, so I'll probably bet it's a 6. And this is my 6, so. And it is a 6. So anyway, I'll undo those quick, and then I'll start looking for that guy. All right. And there she is. Okay. Put her down here in the right spot. Sorry for the bad camera work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Got them all. Okay, now we can pull the mounting plate off. And then we just gotta be careful. It looks like there's at least a spring in there, so we gotta make sure we don't lose any of the springs when we lift them out. So we got all those out. They all came out together, which is fine. And none of the springs fell out. And this is our first real look at the spark plugs, for me anyway. And I mean, so cylinder 4 looks bad or worse or dirty, just like we knew it did. We saw videos of it before that. But I mean, other than that, sorry, I'm looking and not showing, but they all look not terrible. I apologize about the glare. I don't think I can do that much more about it really, but it's not great. If only I had better lighting, then I would have millions of views. Not really. It's all the other crap I do that means I don't have that. Anyway, sorry. Let me get started pulling these guys out. I gotta get a spark plug wrench in here and pull these babies out, and we can check them one by one. So I just pulled out the spark plugs, and well, they don't look good. A nice brown color. My understanding is you're supposed to be looking for a nice brown, and that's black. And these are new. Well, new, it's in the last 4 months they were replaced, and none of them, maybe that's a good angle. Okay, this light is washing it out, hold on. So none of them look really good. I mean, this one's also pretty black and oily, or sooty, I mean. This one, cylinder 3, not looking so hot. Cylinder 4 looking better than the others, but still not good. And 5 and 6. I mean, at least these are better looking, but not by much. None of them really have the brownish color that you're supposed to be looking for. All right, I'm gonna check the gaps on all of them. This is 0.025, and it's actually pretty darn close. Next. Also pretty close. That one's significantly bigger. Put him up here. That one's also significantly bigger. Put him up there. This guy might even be a touch smaller. Where's 0.24 at? 0.23. Let's check 0.23. Oh, it's stacked. 0.24. 0.24. So smaller, but close enough. And 0.24 fits easily. 0.25 fits pretty easily. Okay, well, 2 of them are pretty big, but anyway, they're not as far off as I was thinking they would be. So this is probably not my problem. So after talking to my boy Sam Bennett, the owner of Oasis Auto, check him out, I came up with a game plan for these guys. So the front 2, well, front 3 really, but mostly the front 2 cylinders, I've already cleaned them a little bit, seem pretty black. So black is an indicator of the engine running rich. So actually the 5 and 6 way back here at the back of the engine relative to So front, headlights, back, closest to the driver. Back of the engine, I mean, these really don't look that bad. And, you know, even cylinder 4 is pretty good, but then it starts to get a little bit worse in these. Sorry, my camera died. So what I was saying was that it looks like the engine's running rich on the front, you know, 3 cylinders, 2 cylinders, whatever. I noticed that these guys, the front two, smell a little bit gassy, just a little bit. So this all, to me, points to that I am having failed combustion in the front 2 cylinders. I'm going to re-gap all of these guys to the exact same gap or as close as I can get it. And I'm going to clean them back up and put them back in. And then I'll take it for a drive probably tomorrow because it's getting late. And we'll see what that does. There's a lot of things that could still be causing it to break up like this, but we're going to start here. The next thing I would like to do is replace the plugs with different plugs. But first, I'm going to re-gap all of these and make sure they're a gap that I want them to be. And then I can also use that. Also, I checked the oil, and yeah, I mean, it was full, and it doesn't look bad. I may be paranoid, but it just smells a little bit gassy, too. You know, and sometimes you create things, but it smells kind of gassy to me, so. So what I'm doing right now is I'm going through and gapping all the plugs to 0.027. So I've already finished gapping 1, 2, 3. This is cylinder 4 that I'm doing right now. And I stacked the 0.13 and the 0.14, excuse me, the 0.013 and the 0.14s together to reach a 0.027. That's a little bit bigger than what it apparently was, I assume, in Japan. But anyway, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set all these to exactly that, and we're going to see how she turns out. So I'm actually using a mixture of the tools, so I'm kind of glad I grabbed both, because like this guy is a lot easier to like be sure you're exactly on the number you want, right? But that feels pretty good. But this guy is really good at bending them out in like a small way. So like I'll try to show you. I guess it's probably pretty obvious, but the most, see, this guy is like really loose. So what I was told is you just give it a little tap, and that will put it down enough that you can check it again. So it's actually too tight. So then I can take this guy, put him on here, and I want to make sure I only put pressure on the metal tab, and then I just give it a little bit of force, and then I check it again because I don't want to break it off by being impatient. So anyway, you get the process. Go through and do it if you need to. Again, your like OEM manufacturer is going to tell you what your spark plug gap should be, and honestly, if your car is stock, do that. Like, this is only being done because this engine is fairly modified at this point, and the spark gap, as I've said before, should go down based on how much power you've picked up over stock. And it's all a rule of thumb, and you know, your tuner should know more about this than you. And so if you're getting a car tuned, you may ask them what they recommend if you're gapping your spark plugs up or down. So anyway, I'm going to finish this off, but I don't really think there's a lot of content there to watch, so that's what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to put them back in. So the torque spec for these guys, according to the service manual, is 14 to 22 foot-pounds. So I'm going to put them back in one by one, and I'm going to screw them in by hand to make sure they thread in okay. And then once I have them all hand threaded, then I will bring the torque wrench over. And yes, so if anyone doesn't know this, your torque wrench is most accurate in the middle of its range. So I know I'm using a 1/2-inch torque wrench, which is not going to be very accurate near the very bottom of its range, but I only have a 1/2 inch and a 1/4 inch drive, and the 1/4 inch drive is in inch pounds and doesn't reach this many foot pounds. So this is the best I got. So unfortunately, tonight's gonna end on a sad note. I can't thread cylinder 6 spark plug back in. It's pretty hard to see, but I'm guessing the threads are just a little bit gummed up and could just use recut. So I'll have to prepare to do that. Yeah, I mean, I tried to hand thread it in like 15 times and I couldn't get it to go in right. And the one time that I felt like it was going in right, I put the wrench on it and I looked at it and it just was cocked compared to all the others. And I was like, yeah, I'm not putting that in. So on the bright side, it probably only threaded in just a little bit. So if the threads are gummed up. It's only the first couple, but I'm gonna have to recut it just so I feel better about it. So anyway, I'm gonna have to get onto that here next. But for now, I'm just gonna stick the plug in there so at least it's not exposed to outside air. And that'll be where I leave it for the night. And then I'll deal with that tomorrow. So I got this guy and some anti-seize, and we're gonna see if we can clean up the threads on that cylinder. This is just a thread chaser. It's meant to clean up the threads. It's not meant to cut new ones or helicoil it or anything. So this is like the entry level. I don't think it's that wrecked, but it's a little wrecked solution. So we're gonna try that. And then I'm gonna try to get the vacuum in there and see if I can vacuum out any shavings that I may create. And I did receive confirmation that this ground is from the old harness and that it is replaced by this ground and the Platinum Racing Products harness. So it should be fine. But anyway, so that's unfortunate. I was really hoping that was part of my problem. But anyway, we're gonna work on this. So let's get started. So I put a little bit of anti-seize on, and I'm gonna spread it around over all the threads. My other hope with this stuff is that it might actually catch some metal shavings in the threads, and so they won't go all over the place. Sorry, I realize that's not in the shot. And this is way too much anti-seize, but I'd rather have too little or too much than not enough. So anyway, let's go put this in the hole, and then I'm gonna hand thread it in, and then I'm gonna put it. This one just has a 3/8 inch socket, like bit on the end of it. So that's what I'm gonna use. I saw some of the other ones used like a 3/16 deep socket or something. So, you know, make sure if you're gonna buy one of these, you buy one that has stuff that fits you. So here we go. Try to drop this boy in there. All right, so I think that's basically right. Now I'm gonna get my socket, pop this guy off. So that's what I need for that. And then I need to grab my ratchet too. So I'll go grab that ratchet. But I guess I can put this guy in first. Yeah, that doesn't tell you how wrecked it is. And whenever you're doing this, you should always turn forward and then turn back a little bit and work your way down. You should never just crank all the way through everything. I'll get that on there. The idea is that every time you should get a little bit further until you're, I'm gonna say all the way through, even though in this case I don't think that I have it all the way through, but I think I just need to clean off the top a little bit. That's all mucked up, but anyway, I'll pull this out really quick and I'll try to put the spark plug in and see if she wants to go now. I'll just try that. Cause I mean, I don't feel like these spark plugs really go in super duper deep anyway, and the problem was clearly at the top. Hopefully you can see something. Sorry, I realize I might be standing in the way. Okay, so she's out, and she definitely has some metal shavings on her, but it's encouraging that they're on there. Oh, and you can even see how deep I went by looking at that guy. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, here, maybe you can see it better now, how far up I went. So it's a couple threads worth. Let's get the spark plug and see if we can thread the spark plug in. I mean, that feels better. I'm gonna put the actual ratchet on the end of it and see if I can crank it down a little bit, but that's a good sign in my opinion. Now remember, the torque spec for these is 18 to 22 foot-pounds or something like that. So not very tight. I mean, that feels a lot better. At least it will go in. That feels pretty good. Okay, so now that I did that, I'm gonna get the vacuum in there and try to suck out any potential metal shavings that I left in there. And then I'm gonna put it in for the final time. So I just finished torquing, and now it's time to drop this baby back in. I think it goes at the front. Anyway, I was also recommended last night that the way most people take this out is they leave all the coils in this plate and just undo the whole thing and pop it out all as one. So I'll try that in the future, but for now, I'll make sure I can line everything back up correctly. So I had to do it again, and I don't know how well you can see it, but I went like twice as deep this time, and I picked up like a bunch of crap. Maybe I went 3 times as deep total, but anyway, I picked up a bunch more metally crap, so that's unfortunate, or fortunate, I guess. So I'll try to drop this baby back in and hand thread it down. Now that's how it's supposed to feel. I've been going for a while and I'm still able to just nice and keep going. I haven't reached a torquey spot yet, and so when I do reach a torquey spot, that's when I've actually bottomed out the spark plug like washer, which is right there. So now I reached my torquey spot. Now pop this guy off, pop this guy on. Oh yeah. Remember, the setting is, I want to say 14 to 22 or something like that. Look it up. I said it right the first time. The first time I said it, like 3 or 4 times ago, that was the time that I had just looked at it online, and now I haven't. Now I crank this guy. And if no one's ever told you, the more extensions you're using, the more you're diluting your torque. And also, I already said the thing about your torque wrenches. Accuracy being best. There we go, one final check. Click. 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 And click. That is all set. The PRP logo goes towards the front. Can get this guy under the roll bar, or anti-roll bar, whatever. Keep the harness out of the way, and we can drop all these babies in. Make sure they all get nice and seated in their homes. 1 bolt, 2 bolt. Oh, spin out of my way. 3 bolt. And tight. All right, now let's throw the bolts in for the individual coils, and we'll call that a day. 1. All right, let's hook the harness back up. Throw this guy underneath. Start at the back. Cylinder 6, 1. So it's my interpretation that you can tell when it's fully connected, because you can no longer see any like yellow. You can just see the tiniest little speck of green here, so maybe this guy could go in a little bit further. Hopefully you can see that. So as I exert pressure on this guy, he'll suck up just a little bit more. I see why those are hard to plug in. Connectors are just really stiff. I guess that means they're really watertight, but anyway, that's that. I gotta put the PCV hoses back on. But that's pretty much it. We'll see if I go take her for a little test rip or not. All right, everyone, hopefully you can hear me. This will serve as the test drive for the 0.027 gapped spark plugs, and cleaned, I guess, and also for the transmission fluid. The transmission actually feels really good right now, but we're really just gonna take it now. Okay, we are in first. This clutch is super high up. I wouldn't say that it's like all that difficult to drive, other than the fact that it's super high up, and so you're just kind of like always guessing, and you always think, oh, am I there yet? And then you're definitely not, and then you slip it, and then you look like an idiot. Okay, so I don't want to be overly optimistic there, but I just got like partially into boost, and she didn't cut out at all. She didn't even break up. She didn't do anything. She just kind of boosted. She only went to like half a bar, according to this guy, which again, who even knows if this guy's right? Like, let's be honest. But I mean, she didn't break up at all. So that's like a super great sign. and I am gonna put the GoPro on and I'm gonna go back the way I came and I'm gonna hit it hard and we'll see if she does anything. Man, she's so smooth. Hope this isn't one of those times where your car gets your hopes up and then crushes them. Better. I didn't get to see what we ran to there. See if I can go back to second and hit it again. Alright, here we go. Holy crap! Okay! She's a little bit better. Holy crap! Okay. Holy hell, that's fast. Okay, well, I couldn't see what the boost went to. I'm just looking forward, honestly. Hopefully the video catches it. Alright, we'll go one more. Just one. Okay, so that is kind of the, your vision kind of blurs, kind of acceleration there. Just a little bit. Maybe it's the noise. It's just such a freaking noise, man. Then, because I kept my foot flat and she stalled out at $6 grand and just didn't go any further. So there's something. So second actually fully boosts, like I would say correctly.